Yo guys, what's good? It's your boy Tacho here, and we're back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. Okay, so today we got our copies of the Grand Hero Battle Nemesis, and he's a pretty awesome unit, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about some builds for him today. And it seems like he's a little bit of a controversy at the moment, because some people are just very upset with the way his weapon works. As for me, I don't really care. I feel like his weapon is still very good, and it's going to make him definitely one of the better merge projects you can go for out of these prize units. It seems like lately all of the prize units have just been winners. Like ever since we got Petrine, and then we got Ina right after that, and now we have Nemesis, and all three of them are just awesome. Those heroic grails are really in short supply, it seems, at the moment. But anyways, Nemesis, really awesome unit, so let's start talking about him. Okay, so his weapon is Dark Creator Sword, and what this does is it's going to give him a flat defense up 3, and then also, for every unit on your team that has HP above or equal to 90%, he's going to be gaining attack and defense plus 2, up to a maximum of attack and defense plus 6. So pretty solid effect there. Attack and defense up 6 from your weapon is always nice. Now, the reason why people are upset is because the 90% HP requirement is a little bit steep, I will say. And it basically means that Nemesis is going to be the only one allowed to do any fighting. Unless, of course, the other units on the team are support units, and you're intending to play Nemesis as a super tank, which makes sense based on the rest of his weapon effect. So he also has damage reduction with the same requirement. So every unit on your team that has 90% HP or more, he's going to be gaining plus 15% damage reduction for that, up to a maximum of 45% damage reduction. So pretty solid effect. Damage reduction, of course, is one of the best effects in the game. But Nemesis being played as your super tank for him to basically gain all of these effects is why people are mad. But he does seem like a unit tailored towards a mode like Arena, because he's got that juicy 176 BST. Unfortunately, though, they were not nice enough to give him a super boon. They could have literally given him a super boon in any stat and it would have been good enough. Even speed, which he does not care about whatsoever. If he just had that option to gain the 4 extra points, and he would have been able to jump into the 180 BST scoring bin, I think this guy would have been a no-brainer for a merge project. He'd definitely be better than Ina at that point, because his weapon is just way better than any of the inheritable threats. But alas, they did our boy pretty dirty there, and they did not give him a super boon. Kinda unfortunate, but regardless, I do think he's still going to be played mainly in arena mode. The damage reduction effect that he gets is only going to be valid for his first combat on either phase. So they want him to do only one fight per turn, if you want to keep the damage reduction. And the mode where you're probably going to be able to do that the easiest is definitely going to be Arena. And as for the rest of Nemesis's base kit, he's got Dragon Fang, Chill Attack 3, and Savage Blow 3. Not really the most interesting of base kits. They gave him a bunch of, like, cookie cutter skills that no one cares about. I would have liked it if they did something with this guy like what they did to Petrine, where they gave her Attack and Speed Push 3. And even though that's not a very good skill by itself, it actually makes it a whole lot easier for premium fodder if you want to give somebody Attack and Speed Push 4, and then possibly give them something else as well. So I would have liked if they gave Nemesis something like that. Maybe not a really good skill, but something that can lead to bigger skill inheritance in the future. So kinda sucky that they didn't give him that, but I mean, whatever. And for recommended IVs on Nemesis, you've got 2 options that I think stand out the most, plus attack and plus res. Because his stat line is so tailored towards being a bait unit, I think plus res is going to be like the no-brainer option. But he's gaining plus 6 to attack and defense from his weapon, and he can actually stack his attack stat very high. So if you wanted to go plus attack, you'd probably be able to secure some very key one-hit KOs on some of the foes, typically the glass cannon units. And if you can finish them off in one shot, it's definitely going to be much better in the long run than having to take 2 hits. So plus attack, definitely on the table as an option for IVs. But overall, though, I would say you probably want plus res. Alright, so for the budget build on Nemesis, we're kind of out of luck here because just like with Ashnard, you really only want to give this guy one thing, and that is going to be Distant Counter. And unfortunately, we don't really have any good budget options in the A slot, especially nothing that can compete with Distant Counter. So I'm forced to give him Bracing Stance 2 here. You could give him Fury 3 as well if you wanted, but he's not really going to play too nice with the chip damage and soul, which I've got on him here. I think he wants to go for a sustain healing special. So Bracing Stance, just giving him a flat defense and res up 4, regardless of his foes being a distant or close opponent, is probably going to be the best. If you only want him to be baiting melee type foes though, then I guess close defense could be a good option too. So just be mindful of what type of foes you want this guy to fight against. I've got quick repost on him in the B slot. Seems like a no-brainer. He's not really all that fast, so just give him an option that can let him double attack. But you do have a couple of other options here. I think Dull Close could be okay as well. It doesn't come with any built-in stat drops on the foe like the lull skills do, but it's still going to negate any of their active bonuses to all stats, so that could be good. And Guard is also a decent option if you want to stop the foes from being able to hit this guy with specials. In the C slot, we're going for Attack Smoke 3. There's honestly not really any good C slot skills for budget besides Attack Smoke, especially if you're going to be running a bait unit. So I think that's probably what you want to go for. And for the Sacred Seal, we're using the brand new Attack and Defense Solo 3 seal. It's going to stack very nicely with his weapon and just give him another attack and defense up 6. So he's going to be hitting really hard, and he's going to be tanking very well on defense. But if you want to get some more res out of him, then I think Mirror Stance 2 is another good option for the seal. Or you can mix and match and give him quick repost as the seal so you can have something else in the B slot, like possibly Guard or Dull Close, like I said earlier. So just be a little creative with it, and you'll come to a decision on what skills you want. And finally, for the high investment build, we're free to finally give this guy Distant Counter, which is what he wants to have. There's really no question. There's nothing else in the A slot that's going to give him as much mileage as Distant Counter. I've got Lull Attack and Defense 3 for his B slot. Pretty strong choice no matter what he's up against. But he does have a couple of other options too. You could give him Attack and Defense Ruse instead, possibly even give him a Rally skill, and that way he can inflict Guard on the foes and do Attack and Defense -6. So a nice support option, and also a nice option in general if Nemesis wants to inflict Guard on the foes. You could also try Special Spiral as well, and if you had that, you'd be able to run a higher cost special on him instead of Noontime. So something like Soul I think would work. It's definitely going to be better if you don't have Brave Lucina to support him, because after the first special attack, he's going to be able to ramp into Soul every single time he gets hit, and that's definitely going to help his sustain out. And for the C slot, I've given him Joint Drive Attack. It's pretty much just my bread and butter C slot skill, but we do have other options here as well, mainly the typical suspects, like Pulse Smoke and Times Pulse, and Panic Smoke and so on. Pulse Smoke is going to be best if you need him to fight infantry pulse teams, while Times Pulse is going to be great if you don't have Brave Lucina to support with him. So it's going to make it way easier for him to actually activate Noontime and get that sustain with that. And for the seal, we're going with Quick Repost 3, but you could just ditch Quick Repost altogether and give him Attack and Defense Solo once again. And his attack stat is going to be so high at this point that he's going to be able to one-shot Legendary Alm on the counter, assuming Legendary Alm doesn't have Sturdy Impact or something like that. So I feel like that's a very good benchmark. If you can get a one-shot on a unit like Legendary Alm, then you're definitely doing good, because that means most of the Glass Cannon units are also going to get one-shotted. And taking one hit is definitely way better than having to take two. So possibly even plus attack Ivies could be a good idea on this build to just help him with that and help him get some more one-shots. And it gives him a little bit more power on the player phase. Of course, his speed isn't the best, so you may not want to be initiating combat with him. But if his attack is high enough to the point where he can one-shot certain things, then it's possible that he could have a player phase like that. So that basically covers us for the high investment build. And just real quick before we close out of here, I want to say that I feel like he was intended to be used with Flame, because Flame of course has the healing effect and the drawback on her rescue skill. So it's going to be easy for Flame to keep your units above 90% HP. And Flame also comes with a 30% damage reduction effect on her weapon. So when you combine that with Nemesis's weapon, which only has damage reduction on the first combat for the turn, Flame's weapon is going to help him pick up the slack and give him 30% damage reduction on any attack after the first. So he's still going to be able to have some solid tanking there. And if you wanted to play him in Aether Raids, I think Flame and Brave Lucina are definitely two possible options to consider as supports for him. But that's basically it for the builds for Nemesis. He's a very awesome unit, and I wouldn't mind building him up myself. But like I said before, those heroic grails are definitely in short supply. So I don't even know who I want to spend them on anymore. I was trying to build Ashnard, but like, now we have this guy, and I think he's really good. And we have Ina as well, who can score in the highest free-to-play bin. So it's like there's just way too many things to build right now, and I don't know who I want to go for, but I'm going to have to think about that. So anyways, this is your boy Tacho signing out. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys, and supporting the channel. And I will catch you guys again on the flip side.